got a lot of health. Oh, here we go. And if that does anything for me.
Dimensional event in 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh boy. Oh. Oh boy, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm gonna back myself into a corner. Oh no, not that guy. That's all I need. Oh. Oh god. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and vote it up. Single player, hard, boss. Yep, that all looks good. So that's The Room from Hell by SecretImbecile. I enjoyed it. It was actually really challenging. So I enjoy a good challenge. I did end up getting killed. It looks like he went with one life, one try. So I mean, I do that too on certain maps, particularly on story-based maps. This, you gotta be careful though, because well, just the way players tend to be is that it's almost better to err on the side of being too easy than on being too hard, because if it's slightly too easy, then the players tend to just assume that, you know, when they win, it's because that they're just really good. But if you make it too hard, then they just assume that, like, oh well, this person who made this map way too hard, you know, it's like he made it impossible. They never assume that it's just because that they're not that good. I admit that, you know, I got killed because I'm probably just not that good. I'm not that good of an actual player. I'm maybe better as a map editor, but you know, I think he really executed this map well. I like how he did the separate modules and the hell trials. Those were all really well done. I think I'm going to get into my favorite, least favorite. My favorite part about this map My favorite part about this map is the action. Uh, the 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 try to find the right words to describe it. The difficulty, actually. Up until the boss, which, as far as the hell trials were concerned, I thought the difficulty was just perfect. It's, you know, I appreciate a good challenge, and it can be very difficult to find the right balance between challenging and frustrating. And I think this guy did a great job of making it challenging, because the actual uh, the actual hell trial modules that where he had these separate arenas that you hit the shrine and you go to that arena and you battle and then you come back to the lobby, I guess. Those arenas were really well balanced as far as the enemy difficulty. You had a nice mix of low tier guys, higher tier guys, and he gave you plenty of weapons and ammo and armor and health, but not so much that it was easy, but not so little that it was, you're running around with no ammo and you're screwed. So, beautiful job balancing out your hell trial arenas. That was great. Soundtracks were great. I love the sound. I love the props. He had made effective use of props. And the boss battles, for the most part, were good. They were good. The final boss, I'm thinking you. Okay, well let me get into my least favorite parts about this map. My least favorite part. I'm tempted to say my least favorite part was the final boss, just because I feel like the difficulty was maybe a little too high. But honestly, that doesn't really bother me that much. I can tell it'll bother a lot of people, though, because I think a lot of people are going to die at the final boss. But me personally, my least favorite part about this map was kind of the story that you tacked on. It just seemed out of place for this type of map. I mean, you made this big deal about going to see HR and something like that, but you didn't really execute on that part of the story actually in the game. You mentioned it at the titles. You mentioned it at the title screen, and you mentioned it when you first started the game. You had that pop-up that came in, and it made it seem like it was more important than it really was. I mean, you could have left all of that out, and your map wouldn't have been affected one bit. The only thing that was important from that was the fact that you had to do hell trials. So I don't really know where this person was going with that storyline. It doesn't seem like it ever concluded. Now, granted, I didn't beat the final boss, so maybe that story would have unraveled more. But I would say it would be nice to see, if you're gonna use that story, have some kind of mention it more than in the beginning. How about, like, as you're completing these hell trials, there's some reference to the HR meeting or something, and maybe you have a little cinematic where it shows, like, maybe that final boss, or I don't know. But, like, if you're gonna bother to push a story, you need to be consistent, and it's important to, if you're gonna have a story, use it. Don't. I think a lot of people have this feeling like they need to just, they make a simple map, and then they feel like they need to tack on a story just because. I mean, you don't need to do that. Unless you're going to go follow it through, in which case, yeah, go ahead and have a story behind it. But if you're just throwing it on there for no reason, it just kind of seems unnecessary. So that's kind of my feeling on that. The final boss, while challenging, Um, it was a good challenge. Granted, I lost, but I felt like I had a pretty good run of it. I think I think that this map could easily be 4-player. There's really no reason why it can't be, especially if you're going to have the difficulty be as high as it is. And that pretty much goes for almost any map that anybody makes ever. There's almost never a good reason to have it be single player. Unless there's some very specific reason why you only can have it be 1 player, but that's almost never the case. There's almost always you want to have it be multiplayer, because even with like a map like this, like I kind of see why he didn't want to do multiplayer, because oh, you press a hellstone or whatever and it teleports you to that arena. Maybe you didn't want other people, but that's such a simple, you didn't want other people getting left behind or something. But that's so simple. All you have to do is have them be teleported in. Just set up some booleans at the beginning when they spawn. Have them set to true for each player, and then once one player presses the hell tablet, you test the other booleans, and on true, bam, pop them into that map. So simple. But anyway, that's the Room from Hell. I did enjoy it. It was good, well executed. There's really nothing that really stood out as being wrong with it. Everything that was done well. It was very action focused, very intense, very fast paced. Lots of weapons, lots of armor, lots of power ups. Nice kicking soundtrack. It was well done overall. Well done, but try to get some more players in there. Either do something with that story or lose the story, because I don't know where you were going with it. And possibly tone down the difficulty on the final boss. What you had going on with the gore nests and all the other stuff, that could probably be fine, but you have so many other guys in there during the boss battle that it gets a little crowded. And it's just so easy to get blindsided by a Spectre or a Pinky, and then you're just done. So I would say, me personally, I would tone down the difficulty slightly on that boss battle. But it's up to you. Anyway, that's The Room from Hell by SecretImbecile. Pretty good map. I recommend it. So, alright, you guys. Peace out. Oh, by the way, if you have a map that you would like me to play, go ahead and give me your map in the comments, and I'll go ahead and play it for you. And I'll give you a fair and honest assessment. Thank you for watching, and peace out.